All right, welcome to the 200th episode of Shadow and Flame of Magic, the premier Kitty Pryde Lockheed and Magic podcast. It is my honor to introduce Rebecca Podos. She's a 2018 Lambda Literary Award winner for the LGBTQ children's young adult novel Like Water, a book I simply adore. I keep finding myself
Oh,
wondering about how Savannah and Lee are doing.
we'll
She,
chat about that afterward.
oh, right. She's also a senior agent at Neighborhood Literary and the co-director of the Communications and Fundraising Committee to the for Literary Agents of Change. And you're here to promote the Shadow and Flame of Magic 2025 novel of the year. What if Kitty Pryde stole the Phoenix Force?
Oh my gosh. Did you
Oh.
say it's your 200th episode?
Yeah, it's episode 200. I can't believe in on Veterans Day it's going to be 3 years. So I don't know if that's fast or not, but yeah, like
That's amazing.
by we I mean me. It's
Congratulations.
a solo act, but thank you. Yeah, it's been
That's like a
great.
seminal episode. How fun.
Yeah, that's where I was like, oh, I can push it off for another day before promote because usually we release on Sundays, but I'm like, well,
Uh,
this is important enough. I will put it off for a day.
oh
But
my gosh, that's so fun. I'm so excited to be here and congratulations.
thank you. And oh yeah, so before we get into the novel, would you mind sharing how you got started writing? What's your origin story?
Oh, I feel like I got started like a lot of writers, probably we just don't admit it through fan fiction.
Oh, sure.
But I didn't know it was fan fiction at the time. I was, like a kid reading the Brian Jakes Redwall books. I don't know if you ever read them, but that was like my favorite childhood series. And I would read a book and then I'd be like, oh, I'll just write my own unique story about like moles having a picnic at an abbey. And like 100% it was just Redwall fan fiction. But I didn't know that. And I just kind of kept writing from there. And I guess when I got to high school, it was like, oh, I had to choose between two incredibly profitable careers of either going into writing or art in
Right, of
college.
course.
And I queued writing, and that's just kind of been the story ever since. But so the answer, I guess, is Redwall fan fiction,
Nice. I know
unknowingly.
I was a big R.L. Stein Fear Street guy, and so I always find myself writing like 5 or 10 page sequels to the books of like what was the next day like for these people, which I'm always fascinated with the horror subgenre
Yeah.
of like, well,
Oh,
what
that's
is
actually
the
really
next day?
cool.
Yeah. And I know I was always a Fear Street guy over Goosebumps, but I don't know, maybe it's because I was late to the franchise, but um
No, I read the Fear Street books. I distinctly remember the like cheerleader Fear Street books, reading them in high school and being like, this is intense. This is a lot.
and so who were your mentors on this journey for writing the novel, this novel?
Yeah, so I cannot say enough good things about this entire team. I worked with a bunch of folks at Random House Worlds. I worked with a bunch of folks at Marvel, some really great people. I think like the two editors I worked with the most were Sarah Singer at Marvel and Gabby Munoz at Random House. And they were just so fantastic throughout. Everybody was wonderful. I had, a bunch of folks reading. And in terms of just being willing to answer the most, like the pettiest of questions, like, and in issue 341 of Uncanny X-Men, how does this work? Or, Gabby was willing to like hop on the phone with me no less than I think 3 times to explain like, all right, so how does time travel
Oh,
work in this series? Like, what is the relationship between time and the universe and all of that? So, they are great. And then, in addition to that, I had one of my friends' books, who the novel is dedicated to, is just a really cool person with an encyclopedic knowledge of Marvel and the X-Men. So there was like no question too small that I could just pop into their, text and be like, and in this issue of the Books of Doom, what is your opinion on this? And so, like, I did a lot of reading. I did a lot of deep dive research, but this would not have been possible without like the all of the folks who worked on this book. So they were really incredible. Shout out
Oh,
to
that's
them.
amazing. Yeah, I can't imagine having that resource. And once they answer two questions, you might as well ask all the questions.
I had so many questions.
Yeah. Well, time travel is complicated. So, yeah, like, which I do love in your book about how you establish so much of the present and then you do the time travel so we know where the stakes are, what could change. And I was like, well, this is such a great writing mechanic.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. So we're not like the What If books aren't technically Marvel canon, so we had freedom, but I part of why I wanted to make the like unchanged time before it got corrupted as close to 616 as possible
Hmm.
was A, because I wanted to put in scenes from 616 that are my favorite from across comics,
Of
and B,
course.
just as like a touchstone for me and readers to be like, okay, what are we coming back to and what are we changing? So I'm really glad that read clearly. So thank you for
Yeah,
saying
well,
that.
once you mentioned Krakoa, I was like, well, I love this immediately. It was like, well, now we know what we're gonna lose if they don't get it right. Like, it's
Yeah, one of
established the
my
state.
favorite eras for sure.
Yeah, right. And then I really appreciated how you worked Lockheed in for a page. And so I was like, I love that purple dragon. So,
I love Lockheed. I actually like it was really hard. I was like, oh, there's just there's no way to like wedge since so much of it takes place in this alternate timeline. And then I got to like the past pages, like one of the last stages of the book, and I reached out to my editor and I was like, we gotta get Lockheed in here somehow. And so I put the little cameo in just for
yeah, and right in the beginning
me
too. So I
and
was
for
like, hey, I
him.
could share this page with people.
Yeah.
So I know they made the
Feel free
online
to.
populace pretty happy. And then you even worked magic
Yeah.
in for a sentence later in the book too. And I was like, hey, that's all my three favorites.
Yeah. There were so many folks I would have loved to like wedge in there
Right.
somehow, but it was getting a little unwieldy. You can only have so many
For
cameos, but
sure,
like
yeah.
I
And you
got a
have this
couple of
main
my
story to
favorites.
tell. But
Yeah,
and
I
you
got a
got
couple
Excalibur
favorites
too.
in.
I was like, well, this is just everything I want in one package.
Oh, great. Well, that worked out really well then.
Yeah, right. Um, so besides the mentors, were you given any other terms for the research process? Were you like given access to all the Marvel archives, or was it just Marvel Unlimited you were using?
Yeah, so well, they sent me the first three books in the series, which
Oh,
are really phenomenal. I'm such a fan of the first three authors um who got to do books in the series. And Mike Chen wrote the third book, absolutely phenomenal. And so there were definitely a few times when I would like reach out to Mike and be like, and how does this thing on page 291 work? He was very kind about that. But I had access to the Marvel Unlimited app, which is pretty great. And I definitely used it to go off menu and start reading some series that I just wanted to read and I'm
right.
like keeping up with today. And then there were like there were a couple of issues that were maybe missing from like Marvel Unlimited that I just ordered off of eBay because
Right.
I
Oh,
really needed to see what Castle Doom looked like in this particular issue or
oh,
whatever.
yeah.
Um and so all of that was fantastic. And there were a couple of times that I definitely turned to like the Reddit archives, like
Sure, right.
some enterprising fellow at some point uploaded like this whole TTRPG book of Doom that had like a catalog of all of his weaponry, not canon. Some of it made its way into the book because it's just really, really fun. So the great
Well,
thing about having this series that's so beloved by so many people is there are infinite folks who love to talk about it, and they were resources for me
oh,
for
that's
sure.
great. Well, as I was saying, Doom's so resourceful, like it's canon now. Like give it a minute or two.
Yeah. You watch the what is the thing that the a gyroscopic aircopter, no
Yes.
spoilers, is gonna make a comeback after this book
You
for
described
sure.
that so well too. Like I had it in my mind. Like my mind's eye was just active this entire time. I was just visualizing people and just
uh,
like that danger room sequence you had where they were trying to capture the flag. Like I just like that played out in my imagination the entire time. I was like, this is so descriptive.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. I'm so
Um,
glad. That was really fun to write.
because I imagine, you probably being asked about the novel or the graphic novel version, or like which approach to take. But I know it was it's the fourth one in the series, so I'm like, well, it makes sense to be a novel, but it'd be nice if you were given a chance to do more comic book work after that. Would that be something you'd be interested in?
I mean, listen, I would say yes, just like for the chance to work with this
Well,
team again, because everyone from again production, design, editorial, everyone was really fantastic. But if they wanted to hire me again, I'd love to write some, some Rachel Betsy stories. I'd love to
yeah.
write some more Kitty stories. I wouldn't be mad about that.
Well, I love your how much you had Betsy love Rachel. I was like, oh, this is amazing. Like it's
They're my little OTP. I love them.
yes. And I know they're currently not in a title together at the moment, but they're just about to do a new soft relaunch in January. So hopefully by February, March, we see where those two are at again. But
I know, I'm so interested. Now I had taken I drifted away from comics a little bit before like diving back into it for the series. And so now I'm hooked. Like now I gotta know what happens to all the characters from here. So I can't wait to find out.
well, January is going to be a good jumping on point, so that should be pretty exciting. And you mentioned the other three books. I should just for the audio or the listeners, the first one's Moon Knight getting the host of Venom, Wanda Maximoff and Peter Parker being siblings, and then the third book is Loki was worthy. And I love how
So
much you.
actually, Loki's the first one,
Oh,
and
is it?
then Wanda and Peter, yeah, and then
Okay,
Moon Knight is the
thank you.
third that was before this one. Yeah,
Okay, well that
there's a
probably
lot of
explains why you there were so much Moon Knight references in the setting up the in the early chapter.
yeah. Which
Okay.
I didn't know a lot about Moon Knight before reading Mike's book, and so kudos to him for doing such a fantastic job that I was so invested in these characters that I didn't really know too much about beforehand.
Well, I gotta say to your credit, I wasn't that familiar with America Chavez outside that Doctor Strange movie, so I'm like, oh, this is a lot more information about her. I didn't know she was a former Watcher. I was like, I guess that explains the portal powers.
Well,
Oh,
she's only a former watcher in this series,
oh,
since
okay.
we're going off menu. So yeah, cool. So a lot of like America Chavez backstory in my book is, canon America Chavez, but for this series they aged her up a little, so she's not a teenager in these books. She's
Okay.
like a young adult. And she has like a different backstory that is still going to be further explored in book five, which I know a little about, and I'm so excited for it. I
Well, they
really
got me
can't wait
hooked
to
with
read
the
it.
Kitty Pryde at least being one of the characters. I know they hint about assembled, so I'm like, oh, that's all you need to say, really. That thing's gonna be
Yes, I'm
so.
on board.
Let's see here. Oh yeah, so what's you hinted about some of your history of the X-Men, but do you have any favorite characters outside of Betsy and Rachel who are top tier characters? I love them. But
Absolutely. I mean, Kitty's been a favorite for a really long time. So I I was like a cat in when I was a kid, I was like watching the animated series,
sure.
sometimes watching X-Men Evolution, which
Oh,
was
I
on
love
when I was in
Evolution.
high school. I loved X-Men Evolution. But then when I got to college, I had a good friend who would go to is in Santa Fe. There is like a local comic book shop downtown, and she would go every week for like new comic book day, and I started going with her, and that's how I like hopped over into comics really. And there were oh my god, like when I was in school there was like Civil War was
Oh,
happening,
sure.
so yeah, like House of M, Phoenix End Song, which is one of my favorite
Sure.
books. Astonishing X-Men was happening, and so there was some really, really great stuff. And Kitty was, front and center of some of them. And just as
I think she's in
I
all the
think like
ones you
her,
just named. So
yeah, she's in all of them. And there was so much I loved about her. I love her character concept. Just as this she got essentially like scooped up by the X-Men on the first day that she manifested her powers, as compared to so many of the other X-Men who came along. And so like her identity as a mutant and just a person was really formed around this like core family. And so I love that about her. And also just like Jewish, as a Jewish comic book reader, absolutely loved
oh
her.
yeah,
She is
love
now
that.
canonically, I believe, queer.
Yeah.
So
As far as
that's
I
a
know, she
really
still is. Oh yeah, no, she's
yeah, yeah,
dating Nina right now in Exceptional X-Men, so they've kept it.
So that was really exciting for me as well. So she's
Mhm.
been a favorite for like truly I couldn't have asked to write like a character that I would be more excited about than Kitty Pryde. So
Well,
long
we
time
all
fan.
love her
Yeah.
here on the podcast, so.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah, I think it came late about and it's just it's how it should be, where it's just a simple, yeah, I went on dates with men and women. It was like that's all I needed to know, like perfect.
I didn't even know so much of like because again, like this is a little before my time, but I didn't even know so much of the lore of like Claremont maybe
Oh,
trying to
sure.
position Rachel and Kitty. Of course, wouldn't change a thing about Rachel and Betsy, but I didn't really know that until I did like a dive for these comics, and it's just such cool lore. And I don't know, I love all these characters so much, and there's so many stories about them, so it was really fun to like sift through all of their eras and iterations and everything.
And I know there's a whole contingent that loves Yana, whereas Kitty and Ilyana together. So
Mm.
she just works well with everyone.
I'm
And her
not a
Emma now is
fan.
the current ship.
Yeah, I mean, hey, I'm a fan of shipping. Dream your dreams.
Yes.
Ship anybody with anybody, especially comics is so long. Who knows what will
Yeah.
happen?
Like you're going to go. It's like a band. Like everyone's going to eventually connect to everybody.
Yeah,
Speaking of
for
Emma
sure.
Frost, you were a great relationship between Kitty and Emma. I really liked. You,
Yay!
you had that moment where it was heartbreaking at the time when like Betsy and Kitty get in a fight and she goes to find the Emma that period, and I felt it for that fight, but then I was like, oh, she's gonna look for her safe place of Emma. I was like, I love that. Like,
I love so Emma Frost and all of her like complications is also one of my favorite characters, and I loved the again the many eras of the relationship between Kitty and Emma from like again Emma being the White Queen being introduced at the same time that Kitty was introduced as
hmm
like immediate villain, and they're like her as a reoccurring antagonist in Kitty's life. So a lot of the like alternate future of Kitty in this book, who she ends up becoming in this fractured timeline, is based off of like Kitty's ill-gotten adventures with like having to go to the Massachusetts Academy for a while and like getting back ensnared in Emma's net. But I also like the way that their relationship evolved. It was starting to in like Astonishing X-Men, and then by the time we get to the Krakoa era, they just have this like beautiful kind of like mutual respect and mutual murdership
yeah,
and
yeah, exactly.
friendship.
Whatever that complication,
Um, yeah.
they're just each other's
So,
person.
yeah, so I think it's really interesting how like they can make each other so much worse, but they can also make each other better. And so that was a really fun thing to like explore both in this alternate version of Kitty and Emma while getting like glimpses of the relationship that could or would have been. So they were really fun to write together.
Oh, well, I loved it. Let's see here. So we talked about the novel. I wrote a lot of compliments on my notes here.
That's so nice.
But I think I've organically worked them all in.
It's all appreciated.
And then Doom, as I think we've talked long enough that we could do little spoilers, but yeah, like you wrote
Yeah.
such a terrific Doom, or Dooms, I should say.
Dooms.
I had no idea he
Thank
was,
you.
and I should seek out the other three books, probably by the time I get the fifth book. But I was like, oh, I like this Doom. Like he has a plan. He's chasing Jean, who's this dimension's oh man,
The Nexus being, yeah.
that's it. Thank you. I was like, they said it in Deadpool Wolverine so much plus in the book. I was like, ah, thank you.
They did, which is so funny because I watched that while I was like drafting this book, and there was like, oh, they brought it up. I didn't know. Yeah, Doom was another character that like I've been aware of for a really long time, but since I was, and he's had interactions with the X-Men certainly throughout history, but it
Mhm.
wasn't like a primary
No.
antagonist. So I wasn't as aware. I did a lot of reading about like going into like the books of Doom to find about his childhood and just his different eras, and he's so fascinating.
Yes.
And it was in at the very very end of book three that we find out that this like mystery antagonist that's been stalking, kind of like circling around America, and she's been circling around him. We only find out at the end of the last book that it's Doom. So this
Oh,
is the
okay. Well,
first
that's
book where like,
interesting.
yeah. So this is the first one where like Doom is out in the open. And I will say that when I when I decided to write two super genius villains like pitted against each other in a battle of wits, I didn't really consider that I would have to write two super
Oh,
geniuses.
sure.
And yes, like I'm a lot of things. A super genius villain, I'm not
Well, I
one.
always wonder how writers do
Um,
that with like characters like Beast, who's supposed to have like 6 doctor degrees, and they start doing like all that babble speech. I'm like, how do you even like how do you know the words to even use? But
I just really tapped into the like egomaniac in
nice.
myself. But no, I think it really helped because I like in the same way that like Kitty in this book is kind of trying to find a way back to herself and where she thinks she should be and who she thinks she should be. I think America's doing the same thing, Betsy's doing the
Mhm.
same thing, and Doom is doing the same thing too. And so being aware of just like his weaknesses, his ego, his genuine belief that he is doing the right thing by subjugating the entire multiverse. That like I got to get embedded in that character, which made up a little bit for the fact that again I'm not a super genius. But
Well,
he
you
was
wrote a great
really,
Doom.
thank you. He was so fun to write. Honestly, bad guy,
Well,
very
yes.
interesting character. Yeah.
Well, I just was reminded Stan Lee was quoted about like when asked who his favorite villain was, he's like, it's Doctor Doom, and he had like 6 good, like solid reasons why not, and he's only gotten
Yeah.
better since then. Like, yeah, he's like the perfect villain, and with that diplomatic immunity, he's untouchable. So, it's like, yeah,
He's
how do you
perfect. And again, not a good guy. I'm not coming out as like a Dr. Doom
you're
supporter.
not voting
But you
for
know
Doom?
what? Sometimes he's right. Like I
Yeah.
gotta say, even when he's having like in the Krakoa era, his like dealings with Charles and throughout history, like sometimes Doom is right. I gotta say.
Well, and as a Kitty Pryde fan, like in the Fantastic Four X-Men crossover, like he helped solidify her again. So
Yeah,
I
he
always
saved
appreciate
Kitty's
Doom for
life.
that.
He did. I appreciate like the was there an episode where he brought back Reed Richards because he was like, no, somebody's gonna kill him, then I'm gonna kill
Oh
him.
yeah, right.
Yeah,
No.
so he's done some cool things for terrible reasons,
Yes,
but we love him. I don't know what to
we do.
say.
Oh yeah. So I guess that's all the questions I had planned. But is there anything you like to promote or where people can find you?
Yeah, so I'm just at RebeccaPotus.com. You can find my agent stuff. I have some great clients. You can find my books there. And yeah, I look forward to hearing what you think when the next book comes out, as I super look forward to reading it. And yeah, thanks for having me. It was really, really fun to chat with a fellow Kitty fan.
Oh, well, thank you. And I just to conclude it, I can't stress enough how like water and Mystery of Hollow Places are. And once I finish Hollow Places, we're gonna buy Furious. Um,
Oh my gosh, you're so nice.
yeah, and
Thank you.
my son, because I told him about how there's Mario Kart references in it, and so my final question was gonna be, who's your go-to character in Mario Kart?
Um, I like Wario.
Oh, okay.
I don't know, maybe it's my imagination. I get a little dexterity, but I also get to body slam people out of the way,
Sure.
which I'm not a finesse driver.
No, my wife likes
I'm
Rosalina, and
very
she's in that upper class too. So
amazing. Yes, I am low skill, high impact driver in Mario Kart, so I gotta
whatever it
go with
takes to get to the
Wario.
end.
Whatever it takes, just like Doom.
Right, exactly. And they're a perfect villain.
Yes, Wario and Doom for sure. Well matched.
Love that. And they'll look great together too. That purple and gray with the, or no, the green and gray with the purple and orange. Like, it's
I
perfect.
mean, Marvel, hire me to write the crossover issue between them for sure.
Well, I'll buy it, that's for sure.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you.
Yeah, it's so nice to
Yeah, you
speak
too.
with you. Have a great night.
Thanks.